It is one of the riskiest businesses, and that is even an understatement because you'd be lucky to survive a gun or knife attack or an acid bath or even worse. On the streets, mobile money agents and vendors are constantly under siege.
Yes, MEP no, and motor guys be a packet. Mo packet ya and a baku bameso, and baku kuta two. Until my one shot, until back on a bameso, and or attack me, or bomb blues, or pie manuna, or mode second try me, I say. To me, preno, and I'll catch other gun and say, oh, shoot him in nine, oh, shoot him in nine. Tiamumuana, oh, shoot him in nine.
In January, the casualties we can record more than 10 attacks on agents that have been shot.
Over time, families have lost breadwinners, and those who have survived some of these attacks remain scarred.
I saw two strong men trying to pull the container, and then there was another one standing in front of the shop, and another entered, and then he was struggling with the guy inside, and then we heard a gunshot straight to the head and then the chest.
Added to the physical attacks is the problem of fraud.
Mobile money, I'm going to about lives. When I message you, mobile money.
Yeah,
and I check your phone, someone says a message about life.
I mean,
they call you and say they have transferred some money to your mobile money wallet and that they want you to transfer it back, and only to get to realize that no, it was actually a scam. So they are not only targeting individuals, they are targeting institutions too, even the banks.
What is the way out of this conundrum? Is there any end in sight, even as experts predict the worst if drastic action is not taken?
Security matters. Mobile money vendors are deemed as soft targets. Unlike banks who have security, perhaps mobile money vendors are on their own with no security whatsoever.
My name is Komla Adom, and in this piece I visit some parts of Ghana to explore just how dangerous it is to eke out a living amidst all the risks with these MoMo agents under siege. It's past 9 p.m. here at Donkokrum in the Afram Plains North District of the Eastern Region, and I am surprised to still find some mobile money vendors out here this late. We have just returned from some island communities in the district on a project, and the last task we want to do is to find some food and retire to bed. Of course, I need to first withdraw some money.
It's past 9 p.m. here in Donkokrum, and as you can see, some of the mobile money vendor shops are shut because of security concerns. This is not the only one. There are two others in this enclave that are shut. But directly opposite this one is another vendor who is rounding up business and still doing last-minute transactions for people who have queued in front of his shop. Now, we'll just go straight to understand from him exactly why it has taken this long for him to shut shop, especially in the midst of all the concerns about security.
Ebi one so ebi a pressure as a NSA no ya na come point saying normal a time ya obetumu ase.
Some business owners determine when we should close. Sometimes we have to serve up to the last client before we close.
Shortage. And also, son, this offer so enya ebi anase this offer so nya send him one son upon kufi. Until no son, a bass and a stone as a day son wanya, you say, Utinum Kakra, Senam Koba Yiska, and after when you be as a Yama one son out to kufi. And Nama today, sometime it may be the Accra.
Say upon later, Ukofia,
Oh,
because of why you may chair, Mafonimo, maybe now
I'm Pamisrupa.
I fear for my life looking at the attacks on some agents. As a result, I changed my routes.
Many kilometers away from Donkokrom at Ada Magazine, an area in the eastern regional capital Kofodia, 37-year-old Freeman Gadri, who has been in the MoMo business for the last 10 years, is still terrified by an attack which cost him at least 4,000 cedis that day.
One Nigerian guy came to the shop that he wanted to withdraw money. So after the cash out, mistakenly, when I bent down, wanted to give him the money back, then I left the phone on the counter. He quickly changed the phone that I was using for the cash out and picked the phone away. And then left his phone, the same phone, because I was using C2, and he also exchanged the same C2 with me. So I couldn't realize it earlier. So after about some 5 minutes before I know that no, my phone was swapped with different phone. So immediately I called our supervisor. And then they said, and the guy said he's driving, so when he parked, then he knew what to do about it. Before the guy parked and wanted to block the account, the guy have withdrawn the money from the account. I think it's about 4,365 cedis.
His friend was unlucky during another horrific attack. He died.
When my incident happened, and I called a friend, he's at the Aquadum area. And he was telling me that Freeman, be very careful because now the way things are going now, about some 1 month later ago, the same thing happened to him. And for him, he was not unfortunate, but he was killed. I think he went to the bank to withdraw the money. Then after withdrawing the money, he put the money in the container. I think he wanted to do something, and then they rushed on him to bring the money. Before he knows, they shot him, and then he died.
This is the eastern regional capital, Koforidua, where a lot of mobile money vendors dotted along this enclave transact business on a daily basis. Now, the rise of the transactions has also come with it associated risks of fraud and attacks on the agents. Their experiences, these agents share with us.
Samson Jechi is the youngest of them all. He too has an experience.
I can't remember, it was one Wednesday. I went out and get some food and eat. As soon as I come back, there was a certain guy, he was on a motor. There were two, so he came here to send money. The money was around 1,940 cedis. And he gave me 50 cedis, yes, and the rest is 50 notes. So I counted the money and it was up to. And I took the number and started doing the transaction. As I confirmed the name to the person, he told me to give the money to him back, let him check something. So I gave him the money and he do whatever he wants. As soon as he gave the money back to me, I didn't check it again. Not knowing he has taken 1,400 cedis from the money. So me too, I don't know. So I've sent the money already. As soon as I realized they have taken the motor and they've run away.
I have come to meet National General Secretary of the Mobile Money Agents Association, Evans Otumfo, at his base in Suhum in the Eastern region.
Looking at the nature of our business, definitely we are going to attract a lot of, bad people surrounding us or bad people coming closer to us, with the specific one being armed robbery attack on us I mean, fraudulent attacks on us, acid baths attacked on us. I mean, the ultimate is to probably get access to the cash or the money that we are working with. And so in the current, mobile money space, the greatest, challenge that associates with the business has to do with attacks, incessant attacks on mobile money agents, which, I mean, records has it that on a daily basis, there are attacks on mobile money agents. As at 2021, we tried to do a survey to get access to data. I mean, the number of attacks and then people who have lost their lives, including their investment. And so from a sample of 3,000 agents, we've been able to come up with about 1,500, attacks on mobile money agents within the space of 3 months. And then, I mean, those who also lost their lives, those who in a way got affected, acid baths on them. I mean, all these people, when we sum them up, we are having over probably about 300 people who have been physically attacked. The worst of it all is that about 50 of them in the space of 3 months lost their lives.
This is Abosum Trieja, a suburb of Konongo in the Ashanti region. A family is in grief, having lost a breadwinner, 47-year-old Edward Jemfi. Police here say he may have been trailed from his mobile money shop that day, December 22, 2021. His sister, Mary Ashanti, saw it all.
Just dine pay where the free
I heard him in a struggle with the robbers over the money. All of a sudden, I heard the gunshot.
No when you attack, I would dine me ben we don't catch any say chai bibia man no pay. It's pain at once or no. I don't know was so.
And before I could call for help from neighbors, he was dead.
But me dear me for Claude. Send me Pia Montino Betty. Baby, I am saying be a much and Pia by and I'm friendly person make up within 1 minute. No.
This is just one of many attacks on mobile money agents in the region, in what police say are coordinated, even though nobody has so far been prosecuted. In the northern regional capital, Tamale, residents constantly live in fear, especially after a June 8 attack in the metropolis left 2 persons dead. One of them, a journalist who works with the locally based Nisem FM. It was a 3rd straight day of attacks on mobile money vendors in the area. One of the attackers was accosted by the angry mob and lynched. His motorbike was also burned. Secretary of the Northern Region Ghana Journalists Association chapter, Albert Futukbo, has been speaking about it.
We are saddened by what happened to one of our colleagues last night. It was a very unfortunate incident, very despicable act, and which goes to confirm that the crime level in the region is getting out of hand. That was the 3rd day in a row when a mobile money vendor was attacked. And this time around, while friend and colleague was unfortunately caught up in the incident and is no more with us again. We want to call on authorities who are in charge of security in the region to do their best to up their game to protect everybody.
Back in Accra, there are hundreds of thousands of mobile money agents, vendors and merchants everywhere. In the central business district, it is almost a competition for places in the mobile money space, and they form a key part of the e-transaction economy. Be it in the market, at church, in government agencies, electronic transactions are happening. And just as with the influx of vendors, the attacks on agents have also seen a sharp spike. Let me take you to Ashanti, literally one of the hotbeds of mobile money attacks.
The entire Ashama municipality, the mobile money industry over there is under attack. So what it means is that the consumer or the customers or the people living in Ashama municipality, with the current prevailing robbery attacks in that municipality, it means that the people will be denied of access to mobile money services. And it's simply because our members or agents within the municipality will not be able or are not willing again to continue holding themselves as mobile money agents.
Israel Mawena is still nursing wounds.
Yeah. Shop nani anopa haya na mo pake moto no. Ombaya na mo pake moto no hase. To pake moto no ana obegina hase. Ana ba ko fa. To ma one shot.
They came on motorbike and one of them gave a warning shot to ward off bystanders.
No ma tutu no. No ma stop you. Yes I oba pe no ma tutu no ma shot you. Nti obia anya opportunity say obetima ba abe rescue me. Because of the two nti obia e prene nkwa. Ti ba ko ne fa hase. Na me pie. Ti ba ko ne fa hase. Ti o fa no. E na obegina me so. Nti hase. E na me ne wo. Na me ne kun.
One of the attackers came and we struggled for some time before his colleague told him to shoot my leg.
Me moja nko na wa hase no. Chuhwa ha nyina. Mo mo shoot ha nyina. Ti me ne pre ha nyina so bullet wa hase. Hose nyina there's bullet hose over here. Ti me ne pre na no punch ma no. Ti me so me ball no. Ti hwa me ha kra apai. Na one timi. Ti ho no ka che ne nipa ne say na me gina ne say. Gina ne say no so gina. Ti ho no ka che ne nipa ne say shooting leg.
I suddenly fell unconscious, but they took everything away.
Off gonna me hu hwe. Ana mo push me. E ko gina car na e wa ha no. Di wa na omo fa do me fa bia ana omo koy.
Like Israel, Collins Aglo has also been a victim here in the Ashaiman enclave.
On my way home after work, I was on a bicycle. So I saw some motor riders following me. There were two. I was trying to give them way to go. I give the first one way and he passed by. And the other one knocked me with the motor. So as I was on the back, I fall. And then I was lying on my back. So I saw them coming on me. I thought it was accident, so they were coming to raise me. And I realized they were pulling the bag. And I was, no. And I was also lying on it. I was not agreeing they should take the bag. So I just realized one removed a gun from his pocket and then shot my leg.
Dora Ado is a businesswoman who owns mobile money vending shops in town. She's simply frustrated about the development.
Me wo fie na me ba ni frame say robberies abeto ahye ni so agi ni bibia enti me bisa ni sese ni ti mi koye no na say omu di moto na baaye na omu be pushi no with the moto no.
The robbers came with a motorbike and forcibly collected her bag containing the money.
After locking the gates, sa omu wa run and a girl ni him. It omu the moto no rushing. To omu rushing na omu pia ni two for no omu G ni amani free ni sa. To omu G omu ye two. And they were giving one shoot. One of running them. So they can't control anything. And the girl ni say, only omu be struggle kakra. But because of the one issue no mind, no be to me amegino. But almost bugel ni pa.
Even her mobile phones were collected.
Money, everything. And almost they call it.
From Zenu to Ataleka to Kanewu and adjoining communities, it is almost a crisis situation. Secretary of the Mobile Money Agents Association in the Ashaiman district, Theophilus Totime, is worried.
Last year, we recorded a lot of attacks, close to 300 agents being attacked. And we have reported to the police, and they took some actions, and it seems like getting to December, it's reduced a little bit. We're a little bit happy for us to just enter into a new year, and then we realize that the robbers are now attacking us seriously. In January alone, we recorded attacks more than 50 on members and non-members. And this has gotten to a stage where we think we can't just be talking, but we have to take actions. In January, the casualties, we can record more than 10 attacks on agents that have been shot. And we have one MoMo agent who lost his life out of this business. I should send you around the shops that have been attacked now. You realize that most of them have closed down. Even those that haven't been attacked, they are afraid and scared, so they have all closed down their shops. We have one place at Atadeka in the same district. All the MoMo agents over there have closed down their shops because they are afraid and scared. Previously, we thought attacks come during the evening or sometimes when you close and you are going home. This time, they do attacks in the morning and in the afternoon. So we are all afraid.
Over here, the robbers do not spare anyone. Even a lawyer and part-time agent is still battling severe injuries from gunshots he sustained on the eve of his call to the bar sometime this year.
I've been a day for my call to the bar. My sister has to go and do her hair in preparation towards the call, the event scheduled for Friday, 24th. So the shop was closed briefly. So I went out to get something for my father. So I decided to just pass by a shop and pack the stuff we had in the shop. So whilst in the shop, a customer passed by to do a transaction. So whilst trying to attend to the customer, I noticed that someone was pulling the door to the shop. I thought maybe it's just some children trying to play some tricks on me. And in a twinkle of an eye, I realized that one gentleman came to the front view of the shop with a pistol on me, instructing me to go and open the door or the gate to the shop. And I was just watching him, so immediately I decided to just go under my counter and hide. And then immediately he shot here, and then I fell unconscious. So I think whilst unconscious, he shot here again.
Security analyst Adib Sani explains why these agents have become easy targets for criminals.
In security matters, mobile money vendors are deemed as soft targets. Unlike banks, who have security, perhaps a police officer with a rifle, and of course, certain security protocols in place, including the fact that you cannot use your phone in the banking hall and all that. Mobile money vendors are on their own with no security whatsoever. I'm sure over 80% of them are in street corners, are by the roadside with no form of security whatsoever, so they become easy targets to these criminals. In criminology, we have what we call rational choice theory. Before the criminals attack, they are able to assess. In fact, they even place you under surveillance and even have an information as to the amount of money you're likely to have there. In fact, they have people they even plant there to ascertain the facts. As a result, they are able to engage in very surgical operations, most of which is successful. If there's a high probability of them not getting caught, they are incentivized to engage in the criminality.
Across the country, the attacks keep increasing.
Ashaiman, Kasua, and some other parts of major cities, the inner cities, are sprawling. They are a melting pot of activities with people from all over the country and even beyond. And let me tell you, criminals are able to hide and hide effectively, so to speak, in these areas because of the sprawling nature. So it is easy for them because when they target, they are able to vanish, and it will be very difficult for the police to track them. Sometimes some of these communities protect them. They know that this container contains dangerous criminals, but because people lack confidence and trust in the security services, they are not encouraged to give out that information. So it is partly due to the nature of that community, and also because they have, to some extent, community cover.
We know the value of mobile money transactions have steadily risen from December 2019 to January 2022, according to data from the central bank. Within that period, value and the number of transactions plus registered accounts and active subscribers saw a month-on-month rise. June, July, August, September and October 2021. From November to December that year, however, the value of transactions dropped from 86.1 billion to 82.9 billion when speculations over the imposition of an electronic transactions levy were rife months before the law came into force. Fast forward, a Bank of Ghana financial and economic data for the period before May 2022 found MoMo subscribers had declined by 300,000 subscriptions, with 4,000 active agents thrown out of business prior to the implementation of a controversial e-levy. The figure dropped further per data from the Mobile Money Agents Association. And value of transactions also dropped by 2.8 billion cedis between March and April 2022. That notwithstanding, there are many more mobile money vendors still in business. Aside the physical attacks, there is also this: fraud.
Good afternoon. Hello, and thank you for calling MTN. Our calls are recorded for quality and training purposes. For English, press 1. For T, press. Open somehow a power call to we are 1.
Just me, I know your name and how me assist. As you enter to everything, but to me, mobile money. Now, I was a fancy and I may transit come with me and see Madame Elias. That's what I just hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Madam Pacho, me need Mr. Anthony Pacho. Would you need to access?
Some of the vendors have already fallen victim.
Several times, even where I was working, one of my colleagues was a victim. They gave her steps to follow, so she was doing it, and she was sending money. I was at different places. She called that she sent her money, so I sent her money, and she called another office. Then they sent her money, and she was sending it to them. By the time she realized all the money, everything.
Obi be friend say, obi friend customer say, one sending is kabinti, omra na ombe yi scan or the code be man. Our customer no so nima na oba nipa ni jan phone ni so.
They will call you and say you have won a promotion and ask that you follow some steps. Before you know it, your money is gone.
What transfer scale wo yen we su nyina ma wo. It's a fraud no dey ekoso.
And the last woman be buy say obey 2,000. Boy na njisika no. Ni ehu ya ni say oseni oso obeseni.
One client came by the shop and asked my girl to send 2,000 cedis to someone. She later asked her to add 200 cedis more.
So the people will send the money to her.
After the money was sent, we demanded the cash, and she told us she was waiting for funds from a promotion she had won. She later fled the area.
By 1,000 and also akọ obi so by 1,500 it say ebia nipa ni che we dwuma mu kakra before you feel comfortable but would you new person the fraud need the ye bre kra enya de ketewa.
In the Ashaiman municipality, local authorities are having to re-strategize to deal with the crisis. The police, commercial motor riders and the telecom operators have been soliciting information from concerned groups in the area. The police, among others, wants vendors to adopt measures to reduce their risk levels, including closing before night falls.
The prevention and combating of crime is a shared responsibility, which the Ghana Police takes very seriously.
Ashaiman District Commander Superintendent Osman Al-Hassan has been leading some top police chiefs at an education forum.
We have from the district vehicle in moto, division vehicle in moto, and we even have some kinder camps from the national level to support or to provide security for you. It has not ended there. We still have the intelligence team that also undertake some exercise. So we do this intelligence exercise also to make sure that you have security. Aside that, we deploy foot patrols, Middle East, Red Association, they can test the fact that, and occasionally we also conduct soups, also to flush out criminals from the system. And basically, this is what the police do to provide you with security.
For the telecommunication companies, it is imperative to take the education to the areas where these attacks are endemic. MTN Accra East MoMo accounts developer Michael Edu says they are concerned about the continuous attacks on their agents.
As a business, we are very particular about the safety of our customers, because you know that they are the ones who make us who we are. Without our customers, we are not there. And our hearts goes out to people who have been affected one way or the other by these accidents. And I can tell you for a fact that the business is not happy that some of these things or some of these news would be occurring on our agents. So as a business, we've also taken it upon ourselves to regularly have meetings with these agents and then let them understand what is involved in the business. The people around them are their main security. What I mean by that is that if an agent is operating in an area and then he or she realizes that maybe around 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, the people who are also working around him or her have closed, then it means that he would have to close an hour or 30 minutes earlier before those people closes, so that it wouldn't be as if all the people will be gone before he or she would try to close. When that happens, you might reduce, the risk of people coming in and then attacking you. And then additionally, he shouldn't or she shouldn't be like the people around him are rather the threat or the suspect. The more you become closer to them, it becomes easier for you to be protected because they're also interested in your well-being. And when they even suspect any funny thing or any suspicious thing, they would also alert you.
Sales executive for Airtel Tigo for the Ashaiman area, Nathaniel Awe, wants the agents to step up their alertness.
The point is, someone will ask what is really happening, what do I stand as a citizen to ensure that we prevent crime. What is happening is that customers especially are not doing the right of thing. The agents as well are also not doing the procedures as which we have engaged them to do. The key thing that any customer might or would walk into a mobile money vendor is for the person to come with an ID card. The ID card is just the key thing, because today if anything at all happened, both on the transaction, whether be it a wrong transaction, whether it is a criminal transaction, any other thing that happens, the first point of call is for us to, the police will definitely come and partner the telco in order to fight this crime. What would they request? If we have the ID card, we can trace to find out who and who is involved. Then the police can pick the investigation from there. So that is one of the key things. Another thing is, we keep telling these mobile money agents is that they should try as much as possible. Now we have a lot of technology. We have the CCTV cameras where they can be able to, try as much as possible to install some. And that way, once crime happens, the police once they want to come and pick up and then do their necessary investigation, they can pick it up from there. And then once they do that, they will be able to ensure that the right or the criminal is being apprehended.
A lot of these attackers engage in other criminality. So when you see a mobile money vendor attacked somewhere at Ashanti today, then tomorrow another happens in Kumasi, don't be tempted to think that these are two different groups. It could be a syndicate that is engaging in it. Not too long ago, there were similar attacks, including one at Bantama in Kumasi. When the police finally caught them, they got to realize that this same group is responsible for a number of other attacks outside of Kumasi. So I think mostly we need to work towards improving intelligence. So if we are able to infiltrate and break the syndicate, that can help. And that is why it is also critical that the police engages with these, mobile money vendors. And I'm pretty sure that almost all of them are part of, that organization. So we are able to train them to be alert and what to do and what not to do. Mostly, some of them feel lazy to go to the bank, so they keep their money. And some even display their money, okay? And when it happens that way, the criminals easily notice and they come after you, and not much you'll be able to do.
But I want to say, that may mobile money I'm going to about lives. When take a message, you say mobile money.
Yeah,
and I check your phone, some of you says a message be about life.
I mean, let me quato.
Where quata? Now you have to take a call.
I'll be a pick a man.
You've been a command. Many fun of pick a call for phone man. Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, look at F1.
F1, la mobile money.
F1.
F1. What is it?
But I go back.
Now, I could the tea.
But I go out.
On the issue of fraud, lead for financial crimes and anti-money laundering at the E-Crime Bureau, Eric Kwekumensa fears the phenomenon would continue as long as the mobile money industry continues to blossom.
Mobile money fraud has been very prevalent because, a lot of people have come to identify themselves with the mobile money system. And because of the convenience and the rest, we can see the numbers increasing. Even when you look at the statistics from Bank of Ghana, you realize that as of December 2021, we had over 900 billion volume or value of transactions. And I must say that that is the reason why a lot of criminals are also targeting the vulnerable ones on the platform. So I must say it is very prevalent, and we would have to be very cautious as individuals to be able to mitigate some of the schemes that come by the mobile money platforms.
E-Crime Bureau has done a lot of work in this area.
We've realized that most of the schemes are underpinned by social engineering attacks. And what I mean by social engineering attacks is that the criminals call you and try to deceive you to do something that ordinarily you wouldn't do. So you realize that the typical example, they call you and say they have transferred some money to your mobile money wallet and that they want you to transfer it back. And being good persons as we are, we will decide to, okay, let me transfer back to the person, only to get to realize that no, it was actually a scam. So all those attack schemes are premised under social engineering. Now, one thing we have realized is that they are not only targeting individuals, they are targeting institutions too, even the banks. We have had instances where criminals impersonating the telco and telling the banks that they want to teach them how to do reversal of funds. And all these trends are very worrying. And I want to entreat that we are very cautious. Let's get to be abreast with the schemes that are ongoing so that we can be able to mitigate it. From analysis at E-Crime Bureau, we have realized that most of these alert SMSs that come from regular numbers. That is something that we have established. Majority come from regular numbers. So please, if you receive an alert from a regular number, know that it is fraud. And I know that the telcos have also put in some filtering mechanisms to be able to block such messages that come. Now, there are some advanced criminals that also are able to, mimic the ID and for it to look like it's coming from the telco. Please, when you get such messages, one best practice is to check if your balance have appreciated or your balance is still the same. That will give you a sense of, whether somebody has transferred money or has not transferred money to your MoMo account. So I think with a few tricks like that, you'll be able to counter it.
And I bet you have taken some of these fake transaction SMSs and calls lightly. Perhaps you may want to sit up and be alive to all the schemes that the fraudsters are developing. You would not be quick to follow any instructions to dial numbers in order to do a reversal or any other transaction.
We have given our agents the official number of MTN, which is 0244 300,000. So if an agent should save this number on his or her phone or agent number, immediately somebody calls him or her, he's at one time, alerted that no, this call is not coming from MTN. This is not my supervisor's number and this doesn't come from the office. Then immediately his crime alert rate becomes very high. But if we don't save this number on our phone, which is the 0244 300,000, it becomes easy for us to fall prey to some of this crime. Let's imagine that you have rented an apartment from a landlord, and then one time somebody comes and knock on your door. That, oh, I've been sent by your landlord, so please open your door. And then you open, and then you are attacked, and then, robbed. Would you go and then take the things you lost from your landlord? You can't say that, because your landlord never told you that I'll be sending somebody to you. You get it? It's the same way. We all need to be very, very careful. How can someone call me and then claim to be calling from my telecos, and then I just give in to the person, oh, do this on your phone, do that on your phone, and then I also do the same thing. So in as much as fraud is something that has become very prevalent in our society today, it is also a responsibility of each and every one of us to protect him or herself in a way that he also can.
Somebody called them in order that they have sent a wrong transaction into their mobile money wallet. We kept telling the agents and then the customers that it is the Airtel Tigo office or the Airtel Tigo that does reversal. It is not a customer who has to call another customer for reversal. No. Once you are sure that you have done the wrong transaction, you are supposed to report to the Airtel Tigo by dialing a helpline of 100. Once you dial 100, it's toll free. Once you dial, the customer service representative who are there, who picks up this call and ensure that the reversal is done. And the reversal doesn't take long. It takes within 24 hours. Your reversal is done.
But what can these agents possibly do to minimize their risk levels? Some customers have been speaking.
Mobile money fraud, you can't do anything about it because people sit in the comfort of their houses and they conjure that thing or they orchestrate that thing. So for that one, it's up to the telcos to, do something about it. But for the attacks there, if I'm a vendor there, either if I'm coming to work, either I buy myself a gun or carry maybe 32, very no 32, machete. Yeah, because see, the police cannot guide you. Probably the neighbors, unless you shout. And if the person is holding the gun, what will you do? You will succumb to the person's pressure. And so I think that they themselves should arm themselves.
They should give them a time that they should close, because maybe you can carry a gun or something, but you don't know how many of them who are coming to attack you. No matter how you are holding something that will defend you, the pressure the person is holding, and you don't know amount of them. So I think that maybe they should give them time. Yes, they should give them time for them to close, so that it can save their life. Because if somebody need money, you know that the vendor will close around 5. So you have to run fast. And it's like a bank business. So I think that if they give them time, it will help them.
But for the experts, a lot more than just alertness is required.
We will have to find a way to counter the social engineering attacks. And that would come handy when we are very security conscious. You don't sit down and someone calls you out of the blue and tell you that they are doing a promo or they have done some transfers to your account and you don't check your account. So if you are security conscious, you would be very much aware of these schemes. Now, very important is that we should keep our pins safe. Our pins are like gateways to our wallets. And you know, right now banking has moved from the brick and mortar to, you know, our phones and laptops and the rest. So our pins, our passwords, our codes should be secret to us. Aside that, let's be very conscious, especially those of us that have transactions linked to our bank accounts. You know, now you can transfer monies from your bank account to your mobile money wallet. I would advise that let's set alerts on our bank account so that anytime somebody makes a transaction, you receive that alert and know that something is happening on your account. And last but not the least, let's not share our pins with very close people. I know that sometimes, especially the illiterate, pardon me to say, they go to the vendors and then they give their pins to the vendors. They go to the vendors that this is my pin, help me do this transaction. When you do that, you end up giving, in fact, your whole account to the vendor, and the vendor can, you know, defraud you.
I would have advised that they get shops and barricade themselves with a burglar proof. But not all of them can afford, and the profit margin is very low, especially at this time with the introduction of e-levy. Most of them are running out of business. These days, you want to pay using MoMo, people are not interested. You know, even shops, big shops, they are not interested in MoMo because of the taxes. And so it will be difficult for them to be able to establish themselves in shops. So the only thing for them to do is to be alert, to be conscious, because before these criminals attack, they place you under surveillance. So if you see someone loitering aimlessly around you, secretly taking pictures or videos, and behaving in a manner that doesn't just add up, don't ignore. You immediately have to get in touch with the security services. Every mobile money vendor should know 18555. 18555 is the number to call in case of emergency, because it takes you straight to the police, okay? And aside that, as much as they can, they shouldn't keep too much cash on themselves. If they have to keep it in the bank when it's running out, then they go and pick it piecemeal. That would help, because the robbers, they would come and check. If they realize you don't have enough, it prevents the robbery. But if they realize that you have so much cash at your disposal, then they engage in such attacks.
For the mobile money agents, at least they have made efforts to reach the police hierarchy over possible ways to stem these attacks. But none of those engagements at the national level have seen the light of day. General Secretary of the Mobile Money Agents Association, Evans Otumfo, is disappointed.
It's quite unfortunate that as at now, we have not been able to have that meeting with the IGP. I think on the 8th of November 2021, we have served the office of the current IGP an audience-seeking letter. As at now, we have not really received that invitation. But then the office of the IGP responded to our letter that, the IGP is currently engaged. And so as and when the IGP is free, we are going to be called. But the situation within the mobile money space, which has to do with the robbery attacks, is something that demands an emergency response. And so it is quite disturbing to us that as at now, we have not received that call. We will be doing another follow-up to the office of the IGP, so that probably when we bring up the matter before him, he will see the agency and then the need for them to actually come on board powerfully to address the challenge of the robbery attacks on the industry.
For the lives lost from these attacks, they cannot be revived. Those who have been maimed forever. The attrition rate also continues to rise as residents in these attack-prone areas live on edge.
For the future of the mobile money industry, looking at the prevailing conditions, the record and then the data available suggests that if nothing is done about it, in the nearest possible time, a lot of people might lose interest in operating as mobile money agents. And when that happens, then it means that it's really going to affect, our payment system, our means of transacting for goods and services. Everything will be affected. So what we are of the view now is that no matter what, what attracts people into the industry is profit. And if I will come for something that at the end of the day, my life is also under threat or my life is also under attack, as a rational business person, I wouldn't want to continue with my investment over there.
Looking at the losses these attacks have caused and continue to cause these victims, their families, and their dependents, one wonders if it's even worth it at all, with all these MoMo agents under siege. Komla Adum for TV3 assignment.
Say